The Gupta Age. The Gupta dynasty came to power sometime about 275 AD after the Kushan power came to an end around 230 AD. The Kushans were succeeded by Murundas for a while, but ultimately Gupta dynasty came to power in North India. Chandragupta I, Samudragupta, Chandragupta II, Kumar Gupta I, and Skand Gupta were the main rulers of this dynasty. The first two kings of this dynasty were Sri Gupta and Ghatotkacha. Ghatotkacha was succeeded by his son Chandragupta I in about 320 AD. He strengthened his power by matrimonial alliances with Licchavis. The origin of Guptas are obscure. It is possible that they had common origins because much prominence has been given to the marriage of Licchavis princess with Chandragupta in the genealogies of later Gupta kings, and special coins were minted to commemorate her marriage to Chandragupta I. Chandragupta I started Gupta era in AD 320. One important act of Chandragupta I was holding of an assembly of councillors and members of royal family at which Prince Samudragupta was formally nominated successor in about 355 AD. Samudragupta 335 to 380 AD. Samudragupta has been called the Indian Napoleon by V.A. Smith because of his extensive military conquest, about which we know from the eulogic inscription composed by his minister and court poet Harisena on an old Ashokan pillar at Allahabad. According to the inscription, he subjugated 5 kingdoms in Lower Bengal, Upper Assam, Nepal, and territories further west, as well as a number of republican clans including the Malwas, the Yodhyas, the Arjunayanas, the Abhirs in Punjab and Rajasthan, and several minor ones in Madhya Pradesh. It seems that Samudragupta directly ruled over a vast territory roughly from Brahmaputra to the Chambal, surrounded by a number of tributary states immediately to the north, east and west. The Sakas and Kushans, who ruled in Punjab and Gujarat, though independent, had to be submissive to him. Some of the coins of Samudragupta represent him as playing on the veena. He also performed Ashwamedha sacrifice. Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II is the most famous king of Gupta dynasty. His era is considered as a golden age in Indian history. He succeeded Samudragupta in 375 AD. Chandragupta II followed the same policy of matrimonial alliances. He conciliated the Naga chieftain by marrying Princess Kuber Naga. He also allied with Vakatakas of Deccan by marrying his daughter Prabhavati with Rudrasena II. About 409 AD, Chandragupta II invaded the Saka kingdom of Gujarat and Kathiawar, killed the Saksa chief Rudrasimha III, and annexed his kingdom. This extended Gupta kingdom up to the shores of Arabian Sea in the west, and this facilitated the direct cultural and commercial relations of Gupta with the Western world. The Mehroli iron pillar inscriptions near Qutub Minar enumerates the exploits of a king called Chandragupta II. According to the inscription, the king established his authority in northwestern India and in Bengal. Chandragupta II assumed the title of Vikramaditya. The court of Chandragupta II was adorned by many scholars like Kalidas and Amar Sinha. During his reign, Chinese pilgrim Fa Hien visited Kumar Gupta in India. Kumar Gupta I and Skand Gupta. Kumar Gupta succeeded his father in about 415 AD, and he kept the empire intact. The Gupta Empire by this time extended from North Bengal to Kathiawar and from Himalayas to Narmada. A number of inscriptions shed light on Kumar Gupta's efficient administration and the deep love that people had for him. But in last years of Kumar Gupta's reign, peace and prosperity of the empire was disturbed due to invasions of Huns. Huns were a Central Asian people who were threatening Europe at about the same time. The Huns had occupied Bactria some time before, and now, like the earlier Greek Sakas and Kushans, they crossed the mountains and attacked the plains of India. Kumar Gupta died during a war with Hunas. He was succeeded by Skandagupta, who succeeded in re-establishing the Gupta Empire, and by end of 455 AD, it was again at peace, but after death of Skandagupta, the golden days of the Gupta Empire were over. The central control weakened and the local governors became feudatory kings with hereditary rights. The attack of Hunas started vigorously once more at the close of the 5th century AD. This time there was no strong ruler to repel these attacks. For some 30 years, from 500 AD onwards, western India was in the hands of the Huna kings. Toramana and Mihirukula were two mighty Hun monarchs who advanced up to Gwalior and Iran in Madhya Pradesh. According to Hyun Sang, Mihir Kula was a fierce persecutor of Buddhism, and in Kashmir, memories of his sadistic tyranny were still alive. In the 12th century, when they were recorded by the historian Kalahana. But a great ruler, Yashodharman, rose to defeat and stop the Hunas, but he also destroyed the Gupta Empire. The official record of Yashodharmana is engraved at pillars in Mandasar. According to these inscriptions, the suzerainty of Yashodharmana was acknowledged over the vast area bounded by the Himalayas, the Brahmaputra, the Mahendra mountain in the Ganjam district, and the Arabian Sea. Although this may be an exaggeration, but it is a fact that the Gupta Empire was practically destroyed by the victories of Yashodharman, but Yashodharman's empire did not survive his death. The breakup of Gupta Empire was followed by the rise of a large number of states. Magadha was ruled by the line of kings with names ending with Gupta. They are called later Guptas to distinguish them from the imperial Guptas. Administration. The period of imperial Guptas is termed as the golden age of ancient India. The large part of northern India was consolidated under one political authority. An efficient system was established under Gupta Empire. Although king possessed extensive powers, he did not rule in a tyrannical manner. A council of ministers and several civil officials assisted the king. The king acted as fountainhead of justice and decided all disputes. Land revenue was the chief source and generally fixed at 1/8 of the produce. The police security system was highly efficient, and the travelers experienced no difficulty or danger from the thieves on their journey. The country was divided into provinces called Bhuktis and a number of districts called Visyas. The local units enjoyed much liberty and independence. The standing army of king was supplemented by the forces occasionally supplied by the feudatories. The civil and criminal law for the first time were clearly defined and demarcated. The most important officers in Gupta Empire were Kumaramatyas. Society, religion and economy in Gupta times. The Brahmins became rich under Guptas as a result of many land grants to them. The castes and subcastes increased greatly in numbers as a result of the Indian society, but a new class of untouchables called Chandalas came into existence during this period. According to Fahian, these untouchables faced many disabilities, like they lived outside the village and were not allowed to enter the town. The position of women declined during this period, and they were disallowed formal education and inheritance of property. By Gupta times, Bhagavatism and Vaishnavism overshadowed Mahayana Buddhism. Idol worship in the temples became a common feature of Hinduism from the Gupta period onwards. The Shakti cult gave rise to consorts to gods and goddesses like Lakshmi, Parvati, Durga, etc. Shakti cult gave rise to consorts to gods and goddesses. Gupta issued largest numbers of gold coins, which were called dinars in their inscriptions. Cowries, according to Fahian, became common medium of exchange. Compared to the early period, we find a decline in the long-distance trade during Gupta period. The trade with Southeast Asia gained importance. Art and craft. In the history of temple architecture, the Gupta period is the formative and creative age which heralds the two styles of Nagara and Dravida. The rock-cut architecture of this period is represented by two conventional types of chaitya and vihara, and they are mostly found at Ajanta, Ellora and Bagh. The most characteristic features of a chaitya is its emphasis on a colossal image of Buddha seated between two attendants. The vihara was planned in the row of cells around the central court. The most vihara caves at Ajanta. These caves are remarkable for the variety and beauty of the pillars, as well as the walls and ceilings are decorated. From Gupta period onwards, the free-standing temples of Hindus have also survived. These temples were small and most had flat roofs. The finest Gupta temple was that of Deoghar, in which iron dowels were used to hold the masonry together, and a small tower rose above the sanctum. The Gupta period marked great development in the domain of sculpture. The Gupta sculpture suggests simplicity and serenity. Over 2-meter high bronze image of Buddha has been recovered from Sultanganj near Bhagalpur. The beautiful image of Buddha were fashioned after Sarnath and Mathura during Gupta period. For the first time in Gupta period, we get the images of Vishnu, Shiva and some other gods. The best specimen of Hindus' sculptures are to be found in the temple of Deoghar, which contains Hindus' mythological themes of Rama, Vishnu and Narayana. The art of painting also reached new heights during the Gupta period. Specimens of Gupta paintings are preserved in the Ajanta and the Bagh caves. Out of the 29 caves, the paintings in 6 caves have survived. The subjects of these paintings are threefold, relating to decoration, portraiture and narration. The decorative designs include an infinite variety of animals, trees and flowers. In the portraits, the central figures are those of various Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The narration scenes mostly portray Jataka stories. Other than this, the whole of natural and human drama, like princesses in their palaces, ladies in their havens, coolies carrying burden over their shoulders, etc., is also portrayed vividly in murals of Ajanta. The chief characteristic of Gupta art is refinement, simplicity, and religious virtuosity. Literature in Gupta period. The Sanskrit language came to have a great importance during Gupta period due to influence of Brahmanism. Sanskrit became the official language of Guptas, and it was also the language of higher classes. The plays of Bhasa and Kalidas belong to this period. Ramayana and Mahabharata were also compiled during this period. The earlier Puranas and various Smritis were also compiled during this period. The compilation of Amar Kosha by Amar Sinha, who was a luminary in the court of Chandragupta II, was also done during this period. Science and technology. The metallurgical skills of Gupta period were very high. This is evident from discovery of colossal copper statues of Buddha and an iron pillar near New Delhi. Mathematics and astronomy also saw great development during this period. The Indian notational system was adopted by Arabs who took it to the West. The concept of zero had been also developed. Aryabhatta calculated the value of pi and the length of a solar year with a remarkable degree of accuracy. Varahamira was astronomer in 6th century who stated that moon rotates around earth and earth rotates around the sun. The science of medicine was also developed, and Vagabhat was a renowned physician of this time. The post-Gupta period. After the Hunas were confined to a very small pocket, Yasodharman ruled North India for a brief period. But the rule of Yashodharman was very brief and Gupta kingdom disintegrated. The Maitrikas of Vallabhi, Mukharis of Kannauj, the later Guptas and gods of Bengal succeeded him. The founder of Maitrika clan was Bhatraka. They ruled the Saurashtra or the Kathiawar region and the capital was Vallabhi. The most important family of Mukharis of Kannauj flourished in Gangetic Valley. The first important member of this branch was Ishanavarman, who claimed victory over the Andhras, the Sulikas of Orissa, and the Gauds. The later Guptas gained control of these territories, which had not been formed into independent kingdoms. The first powerful and independent ruler of this dynasty was Kumar Gupta. The power of later Guptas came to an end towards the middle of 8th century AD. Among the gods of Bengal, the most famous ruler was Sasanka, who fought against the ruler of Thaneshwar and Kannauj. Not much is known about the history of gods before and after Sasanka. Harshavardhan. According to Harshacharita of Banabhat, Harshavardhan belonged to the Pushyabhuti kingdom of Thaneswar. The Pushyabhuti kingdom was founded by Narvardhan around 6th century AD. Under Prabhakarvardhan, the kingdom grew in territory and influence. The daughter of Prabhakarvardhan and sister of Harsharajyashree was married to Grahavarman, the Mukhari ruler. Grahavarman was murdered by Devagupta of Malwa and Rajyashree was imprisoned by him. The elder brother of Harsharajyavardhan defeated Devagupta, but he died fighting the Bengal king Sasanka. Therefore, Harsha succeeded to the throne at the age of 16. Harsha searched and found out her sister Rajyashree, and on her refusal to take up responsibility of ruling, he decided to continue as a ruler. Harsha transformed his capital from Thaneshwar to Kannauj and conquered the 5 kingdoms of North India, Punjab, Kannauj, Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. He defeated the king of Vallabhi, Dhruvasena, and later married his daughter to him. Harsha now turned towards Deccan, where he came face to face with the Chalukyan ruler of Vatapi, Pulkesin II. The battle was fought between the two at the bank of Narmada, at which Pulkesin II came out victorious. Some historians believe that Harsha had conquered the territories of Nepal, Sindh, and Kashmir. Chinese pilgrim Husain Sang visited India during Harsha's reign. He came to study at Nalanda and collected Buddhist texts. He left India in 643 AD. He spent about 8 years in the dominions of Harsha and earned his friendship. Polity and society under Harsha. Harsha ruled his kingdom with the help of a central ministry and a secretariat comprising various departments. The provinces called Bhuktis were divided into various districts called Vaishyas. The criminal law was more severe than it had been in the Gupta period. The caste system was rigid. The city of Kannauj under Harsha became the premier city of northern India. Huan Sang has left a detailed account of a great assembly held at Kannauj in 643 AD and attended by representatives of Hinduism and Jainism besides kings. Harsha was a great patron of learning. He made large endowments to Nalanda and extended patronage to men of literature and was himself a poet. His court was adorned by Banabhatta, the author of Harshacharita and Kadambari. Harsha himself wrote 3 well-known dramas, the Ratnavali, the Nagananda, and the Priyadarshika. Harsha died in 647 AD, and his kingdom was once again broken up into many petty states. The kingdom of Deccan had become powerful by now. Small kingdom of the Deccan. The Vakatakas and Ikshvakus, who followed Satavahanas, and the Chalukyas, Silahas, Kadambas, and Hoyslas were among the small kingdoms of Deccan. The Vakatakas. Till the rise of Chalukyas, Vakatakas controlled parts of Deccan and central India. The founder of this dynasty was Vindhya Shakti Chandragupta II, is said to have given his daughter Prabhavati in marriage to Vakataka king Rudrasen II. The king Harisena of Vakataka dynasty is said to have made extensive conquests. The Vakataka power was destroyed by Kalachuris and Kadams towards the middle of the 6th century. Ikshvakus arose in the eastern part of the peninsula. They began providing lands as grants in the Krishna Guntur regions where the copper plate charters have been found. Their rule ended with their conquest by Pallavas, Chalukyas of Vatapi or Badami. The Chalukyas grew powerful in Deccan towards the middle of 6th century AD. The dynasty had two branches, the Chalukyas of Badami or Vatapi and Chalukyas of Kalyani. The rule of Chalukyas of Badami started in early 6th century AD and its first rulers were Jayasingha and Ranaraja. The first independent ruler of this dynasty was Pulkesin I and the most famous ruler was Pulkesin II. Pulkesin II was also called Satyasraya and was a contemporary of Harshavardhana. The Aihole inscription tells that Pulkesin II overcame the much internal and external disturbances. He established his influence over the whole Deccan from Narmada to the Kaveri. The greatest achievement of Pulkesin II was his victory over Harshvardhana in 620 AD. Pulkesin II also defeated the Pallava king Mahendravarman with whom they were involved in a long battle. He was able to unify a large part of South India. Pulkesin II was probably killed by the Pallava king Narasimhavarman in 642 AD. His son Vikramaditya, who was able to recover his paternal dominions, succeeded him. The sovereignty of Chalukyas came to an end in about 757 AD when Rashtrakuta chief Danti Durga defeated Kirtivarman II and Chalukyas lost Maharashtra. The long struggle of Chalukyas with Pallavas exhausted the strength of Chalukyas and led to their ultimate fall. A dynasty was founded by Pulkesin II's brother Kubj Vishnuvardhana at the ancient city of Vengi. These Chalukyas were called Eastern Chalukyas of Vengi. The hostilities between Rashtrakutas and Chalukyas of Vengi were very strong. Vijayaditya III, 848 to 892 AD, is credited with victories over Pallavas, the Pandyas, and the Rashtrakutas. The kingdom of Eastern Chalukyas was annexed in 1076 AD by Kulotunga Chola. Western Chalukyas of Kalyani. After a lapse of 200 years, the rule of the second branch of the Chalukyas of Kalyani began. Their reign lasted for about 200 years, 973 to 1190 AD. The kingdom was established by Taila II in 973 AD when he defeated the last Rashtrakuta king Amoghavarsa Someswara I, who was involved in a protracted war with the Cholas, and Someswara II were other kings of this dynasty. But the greatest ruler of Western Chalukyas was Vikramaditya II Tribhu Vanamala, whose period is 1076 to 1126 AD. He is hero of the literary work Vikramadeva Charita by Bilhana. He introduced Chalukya Vikrama era in 1076 AD and fought successfully against the Chalukyas of Anhilvara. The dynasty ceased to exist by the middle of the 13th century. The Chalukyan king was great patron of art and letter. Much of the paintings and sculptures of the Ajanta and Ellora caves were completed during their reign. The Chalukyan temple style have two components, the Vimana and the Mandapa. The temples are characterized by plastic ornamentation on their external surfaces and intricately carved pillars, ceilings and door frames. The famous temples of Chalukya's period are the Virupaksha temple at Pattadhaka near Badami, the Vishnu temple of Badami, the Shiv temple of Maguti and the Kashi Vishwara temple of Lakundi. Rashtrakutas. Danti Durga was the founder of Rashtrakuta dynasty. He overthrew Chalukyas of Badami in about the middle of 8th century AD. However, the Rashtrakuta power reached its peak in the rule of Dhruva Nirupama, whose period of rule is 780 AD to 793 AD. He succeeded in establishing his rule in Deccan. He was succeeded by his son Govind III Jagatunga, who in turn was succeeded by Amoghavarsa I, who is said to have defeated Cholas, and the Hoysala king Vishnuvardhana. With the rise of the Yadavas of Devagiri and the Hoysalas, the Chalukyas built the city of Manyakheta as his capital.